And welcome to week 3. I am super excited about week 3. Thank you for being here. This is the live recap that we do at the end of each week just to cover everything that we've talked about through the whole week. And with that, let's get started. Man, we've kicked off a whole bunch of content on Instagram this week. Got a full plate of content on Instagram. We got a full plate of a whole bunch of shorts on YouTube this week, a little bit on Twitter. Not super thrilled about Twitter yet. Rumble's almost ready to launch, and just kind of taking a step at a time with all those different places we're going to have content. So with that, why are we at the Belief Hero? I want to jump into that because that is super important, why I'm here. And it really started with this idea. What makes a dream is just the belief that we have about it. In other words, a dream without belief is just a thought. And this is why building our belief, protecting our belief is one of the single most important things that we do every single day. It's a most important daily activity is protecting and building our belief. And that is because all of us must daily face our belief villains. That's right. And belief villains are all the internal and the external obstacles that all of us face that keep us from believing in ourselves, our goals, and our dreams. And that is why every single one of us needs a belief hero. And so that from that is where the Belief Hero was born, the idea of it, and really everything that we're doing here and building content and and building community around. So super excited about that. We are full swing in allergy season. Congratulations on that. Oh my goodness. Who doesn't love allergy season? I know I do. It's my favorite thing. I love it. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Again, thank you for being here. Man, we kicked off this week with some fun reels. And the first one we kicked off on, the first bit of content, was titled Reasons to Act. And, I don't know if this is one of your villains or not, but I want to talk about this. There are a few people who focus on the reasons to act. And a lot of people focus on all of the reasons not to act. In other words, they get stuck in the loop of the peripheral, and they never really focus on the reasons they want to do something. And in that reel, I talked about just because you want to. Like, that's literally all you need. That is the only reason you need to start working towards your goal. And so many times we get stuck, and I've seen people get stuck with having to get permission, to get affirmation on what they want to go do, their goal. And they kind of wait for somebody to push them out. And every day that they're waiting to be pushed out, their belief slowly takes a little hit. It slowly takes a little hit. And rather than acting and building their belief, building that confidence, they kind of shrink back from it every day. So I don't know if this is a belief villain you have or not, but you just need to give yourself permission to act. And what I mean by act is do. And the action we're doing is really the direction you want to go. We want to act in starting, but we want to start towards our goal. And the outcome, the destination, that is what you're working towards. And the action of setting your mind to it. So we need to act. We need to set our mind to something, and we need to go after it. And I don't know if you're stuck in that loop of, man, I just need some affirmation, or maybe if I tell my sister Sally about this will be the one thing that she believes in. And every time we do that, we shrink away from our belief, from building our belief, and we call that posture. Our posture shrinks back a little bit. And I want to encourage you that just because you want to do underwater basket weaving, just go do it because you want to. Like, that literally is the posture you need to have to overcome that villain. You need to have a posture that says, because I want to. So what? I don't care what Sally thinks. She isn't the one that has to hold her breath for 4 hours while she makes a basket. Go after it. Get it done. That is what that post is all about, is saying, hey, you just need to give yourself permission to go. And the only reason you need to give yourself permission is because you want to. That's all you need. You can be a little bit of a smart aleck with yourself if you need to, but that is all you need. And all those little villains in your head are just excuses or excessive amplification of things that just really aren't as big of a deal as we make out in our heads. So with that, give yourself permission to go. Go for it. The next one we're going to talk about, oh man, kind of ties into that. Permission to start. And I think this is hard for a lot of people. We get afraid to give ourselves permission. And we get stuck. And the villain here so often is, I don't feel worthy, or I don't feel like I should be able to do that because I haven't done something before. There's a past failure. There's some hangups or some hurts. A lot of things going on in our heads that just absolutely do not need to have the size or the space that we give them. And so part of this post, giving yourself permission to start, is about going, hey, I want to do this. I can do it. I can do that. I don't need to ask somebody's permission. I just need to give myself permission. I have the authority over that. I have the authority to do that. And that is literally good enough. And I just love that. I just think about how I know so many people that get stuck in, I don't deserve that. You know what? Maybe you don't deserve it in the sense of an entitled sense of deserve that, but there's no reason you can't go after it. Absolutely. Separate those two in your mind. Just because you want to go after something doesn't mean you've accomplished it. And we kind of put those two together and go, oh, I don't deserve that. We haven't done it yet, but you do deserve to give yourself permission to go try, to go take those first steps. Heck yeah. You can give yourself permission to do that. And suddenly when you split those up, everything changes. And you go, you know what? I don't need to get permission from anyone. Now, if you're spending somebody else's money or you're living in their house, obviously all these things are within a context of responsibility, right? Internally, you don't have to get permission. You just got to go do it. You just got to go do it and have fun with it. So if that's your villain, if that's your belief villain, it's just not really ever getting all in because you just keep coming up with an excuse after excuse about how you don't deserve it. It is time to give yourself permission. Get a little sticky note. We're going to talk about sticky note a lot tonight. Get a little sticky note and say, you know what, Sally, I give you permission to start. Oh man, that's huge. That's a huge belief. That's awesome. Give yourself permission to start. You're worth it. Your goal's worth it. Your goal's worth it because you're worth it. Your goal is worth it. Like, just go after it. It's all you got to do. Just go after it. Just start. Oh, so many of these belief villains can just be left in the dust. They don't have little legs. They can't keep up with you. Just go after them. All right. Next thing we talked about this week, and this is probably one of my favorite ones. I had a couple favorites from this week. I have one that's really meaningful to me too, deeply meaningful to me, but this one, buy a ticket. Buy a ticket and get on the plane. Goes in line with the last one, doesn't it? But it's the commitment of it. There's a commitment side to this one more than just giving yourself permission. There's a commitment side where you say, you know what? I'm going to get my credit card out. And I'm going to buy my ticket. I'm going to get my credit card out and I buy that ticket for that destination. And we've got to do that. You've got to get your credit card out and you've got to buy the ticket. You got to drive yourself to the airport. You got to get on that plane and you got to go. And I don't know where you're at because nobody's in the chat. Because I tell you, nobody's on the chat for your first 1,000 videos or something. I forgot what sad statistic it is. Whatever. I don't care about sad statistics. I wanted to do a YouTube live, so I did a YouTube live. When we make that commitment, then we start to pack. See, we kind of talk about where we want to go, what we're going to do. Oh, wouldn't it be fun? Oh, wouldn't this be great? And we romanticize it, and we kind of live like vicariously through this idea or this dream. And that is different than when you buy the ticket and go, man, I should really plan out my trip. I should plan where I'm going to be. I should plan those things out. Yeah, you should. That's a huge part of the commitment. Where are you going? What are you going to do? Who are you going to see? Who are you going to spend time with? All of those get us excited about going, to get others excited about where we're going to. It's a huge belief component. So I want to encourage you right now, if you're a belief villain, is just that last little bit of commitment. Get your credit card out and make the commitment. Now, we're talking about credit cards. I'm not saying spend money. But I am saying whatever you need to do to get committed to that, get it done. 9 times out of 10, it's more of a time commitment that we need to make than it is an actual buy a ticket. So let me explain. I have seen so many people get lost in the loop of just needing more training. Okay, so I'm going to make a commitment to this goal, but first I'm going to go learn more about it. No. That's not what we're talking about here. That's not the credit card swipe we're talking about. That is buying a delay. That is buying expertise over the experience of just doing it, right? Those are two different worlds. Man, that's going to be a reel next week. Great. Wait till you have to hear about that again. What you need to do is go do a step towards it. So you get this out, get your little notepad out, and you write down one of the things you need to do. You don't need more training. I guarantee you don't need more training to start. Rarely is it the case that we need to be an expert before we start. Rarely. I mean, we're talking, now if I was going to build a rocket that sent people to space, probably should be an expert in that. Well, I could build a submarine. That's probably true at this point. That has been proven. But I probably shouldn't send people to space, right? We've learned our lesson. Rarely is it the case. If you want to get started in social media, write your bio. Get that picture out of the way. Stop having the avatar. Put your face on there and write your bio. That's it. One small step. So many villains are just left in the dust when we just make small incremental steps of action. They all just go away. They're really not that powerful. You just break free. Now, sometimes we gotta move a little faster to get away from some of them, and that's normal. But for the most part, just gotta buy the ticket, get on Instagram, create you a little Instagram page, take a picture of yourself, and write that bio. Then tomorrow, write down 2 or 3 things that are in trajectory, in alignment to that bio. It's that easy. I want to have a healthy lifestyle blog or an Instagram page. Oh, what are 3 things you can do tomorrow that are healthy lifestyle? Well, you can go for a walk. You can walk your dog. You can clean your house. You can wash your car. Thousands of things. Plan a grocery list. Plan meals. I mean, there's billions of things. But you got to buy the ticket. And it isn't more training. Nobody in this planet probably watching this YouTube. If you got to YouTube to watch this, you don't need more training. I'm just saying. That's not the reality that we live in. And that's not the reality that your little belief hero inside of you wants to live in either. You set that guy free. Let that little belief hero grow a little bit. Give him some superpowers and just get started. So if your belief villain is just that last little leg of commitment, that last little bit of commitment, get your credit card out and spend some time. Don't go purchase training. You don't need more training. You don't need to read a book. You don't need to do any of those. Those are all passive. Okay. 9 times out of 10, they're passive. 99.99% of the time out of 100, not out of a billion, out of 100. Those are all delays. Okay. That's the delay villain. Get away from that guy too. Don't get sucked into that. All right. The next topic we talked about this week. Oh man. Okay. Remember I said that there are a few topics that were near and dear to my heart. And this next one is not your customer. Paid a lot of money for this advice. And it came from a coach through a friend. And I just could never see myself. I'll be honest. I can never see myself doing social media. I do not fit what I feel like, what my little belief villain tells me. I do not feel like I fit the algorithm for social media. Okay, I do not feel like James Hatcher, even as the belief hero, fits the algorithm of Instagram. We're just going to pick on Instagram tonight because it's the easiest, even though we're on YouTube. And I could just never get traction. In my head, the belief villain said, you do not fit the algorithm. You're wasting your time. And I believe that villain for a long time until my buddy said, you know what I learned from my coach is that the reason that person isn't attracted to you, or that articulation of what they're doing on Instagram isn't attractive to you, is because you're not their customer. I was like, mind blown, right? And I go, holy cow, nobody's ever said that to me. Nobody's ever said, you're not their customer. Just think about the freedom that gives you. We see people that are doing the things we kind of want to do that we don't really see ourselves. In other words, we don't see ourselves doing it the way they do. We don't fully see that their articulation as being authentically ourselves. And so it's kind of like this, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can actually, because you just need to understand you're not their customer. That's why you're not attracted to what they're doing. Everybody can paint a house, right? So here's the sweet truth of it. Anybody can paint a house. So you see all these people painting houses on your street, and just because you don't like the way that guy's doing it down there with his little 1-inch roller, right? You're like, I remember, I'm not a house painter. Well, you are. Anybody is that has a house that needs painted. That's not an option. You just don't like the way Bob's doing it with his little 1-inch roller in his fingers, and he's going to spend 3 years doing it. You just don't want to do it that way. That's fine. But you can still paint a house. You can still be a house painter. You can be a very successful house painter. You can be the best house painter on the street. You can be the example of house painters. You just don't have to do it like Bob with his 1-inch roller. The freedom to do that for me changed everything about how I see social media and all of that stuff. It changed my business for me. And I think it's probably one of the most personal reels this week. We have one more that's pretty close. But man, if somebody could just get set free and just being trapped by the villain of you don't fit in here. Let's see, the villain of, I don't know what it might be. It's in your head. the villain that the algorithm doesn't like you. Okay, that's fair. Nothing about you matches what the algorithm is looking for. That's fair. But it doesn't mean you can't start. Doesn't mean there aren't people out there that that doesn't mean there aren't people out there that need to hear your story. Those are not two things that are parallel. They're not codependent on one another. Just because the algorithm doesn't like you doesn't mean somebody doesn't need to hear what you have to say or can't benefit from what you have to say. So if that is your belief here, the villain, I can't even keep them straight at this point. Belief hero, belief villain. I might have to change that. Oh, we forgot to talk about things we did wrong this week. Belief villains. If that is your belief villain, the disconnect, just give yourself permission to do it your own way. Start writing scripts. That's what I did. Started writing it down. How would I say that? Well, I'd say it like this. I'd say it like this. I'd say it like this. I'm saying the same thing they do, probably almost identical. In my head, it sounds different because I'm saying it. I'm just switching some words around. Just do that. Just write down what somebody else says and then go with it. That's it. That's all there is to that one. That belief villain is so small when you do that it's overcomable by anybody. So just do it. Get it done. Love that one. All right. Next one. The next up for the week was recover from setbacks. Oh, man, I struggle with this one. Oh, my goodness. I so struggle with this one. I take a breath before I even go. I really struggle with setbacks. I am wound tight. And when things just can't click along, I get so frustrated. Oh my goodness, I get frustrated. I know. I will get a teleprompter, okay? It bothers me as much as I know it bothers you. I'll get one, I promise. It bothers me a ton when I have setbacks. I've been waiting to launch the Belief Hero patiently for 4 months. Okay, so the Belief Hero is like 20 months old on the 1st of August. That's how old this project is. There's a whole bunch that goes into that. There's a whole bunch of reinvention that went into that. We tried a few things. It wasn't a good fit. And then finally, bam, April, Belief Hero hits. I'm like, that's it. That's me. And we had trips. I had corn planting season. And then I had soccer season that I coached. And then we had camp season. My wife and I help at a kids camp. So then we had all of June, all of July. And I couldn't launch. I get back from camps. Somewhere along the lines, the sewer line broke in the basement of the office. And that was a mess, let me tell you. And then you saw my first video, and when we kicked off, why does everybody need a Belief Hero? My grandma passed away. And it was just like one setback after another. I do not do well with setbacks. I do not do well with setbacks at all. They are the most deflating to me. I lose momentum and I get so frustrated. And so, again, you're going to hate me by the end of the week. Oh, where is it? This one. Oh, hold on here. This 8-2, whatever this is. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Lumix. Write 2 reels, record 2 reels, and post to Instagram and YouTube. See, that thing does not do bad at all. You don't always need a Sony. That's pretty good. I love this thing. I love this camera. Oh. And so I had to recover. And the only thing I could do was sit down. I had one day and I'm like, I just got to record some reels. And the camera's not set up. The studio's not set up. And you can go to Instagram. You can go look at those. Go look at them. They're in my face. It's just my phone. And they're not perfect. And I got to do a reel today because, you're just trying to recover. It isn't perfect when you got to recover, but you're doing whatever you can. That's normal. That's everybody does when they recover. If it wasn't that, I'd be doing it perfectly. That's why we're talking about recovering. And I think one day we're even in the shop. We're changing spark plugs on the on the expedition and the EcoBoost. And I'm like, I'm covered in grease, I'm covered in oil. I'm like, I have to do my live. I have to do my post today. I have to do my reel and then post it over as a short. And my Belief Villain's going, bro, you don't have the studio, you don't have the lights, you're covered in grease, your hair is not done, your shirt's dirty. And I'm like, you know what, dude? You need to sit down. I've got to do this reel. It was actually one of my most like emotional reels I thought I did all week. I'm like, I kind of stumbled and I fumbled around with the words and blah, 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 blah. It's not my favorite reel to listen to. But the bottom line is, we do want you to stay in your belief bubble. We do. That's the whole point of why we're here. I want you in your belief bubble. I want you like protecting your belief, growing your belief, going, hey, I can slay that belief villain. That's everything we're doing here. It wasn't perfect. You recover from setbacks. You just got to do it. You just got to roll with whatever it is. It's not a big deal. I watch people on the Ecamm fam that have been doing streaming forever, and their streams go wrong. Their scripts go wrong. I've seen people that have been doing YouTubes forever get on live and the teleprompter died and their eyes are shifting just like mine are. Nothing you can do about it. I got a cam link. You can't see it. My cam link dies. It overheats. So at some point during this live stream, my cam link is going to die because it's going to overheat, or I don't know what it does. It freezes. And I've got to have it hooked up to a switch so I turn it on and off. I'm going to have to recover from setback. It's normal. If you didn't have setbacks, you wouldn't be a normal human being. So, enough on setbacks. You want to conquer a setback. Small steps. Small, actionable steps that will fill your belief bucket today. It's hard for those of us that live, I think, probably in this perfectionist world. I just called it how it is. It's live. So now everybody knows I'm a perfectionist. Nobody knew that about me until now. Hope my wife's not watching. Oh, I hope Kara doesn't see that. Those of us that are perfectionists, if you're afraid of failure, if you have performance issues, you struggle with those things, you can recover from that when a setback hits by just doing one or two small things. Regroup with what you have, set realistic goals, and keep moving. Just push the disappointment back and go, I'm normal. Laugh it off. Learn to laugh it off. It'll all be good. It is not easy to laugh it off, is it? Is it? I had to learn that with guitar. Playing on stage, I make mistakes, and I just be so hard on myself that my hand would then freeze. And I literally had to just be like, I'm playing guitar, I'm on stage, and I make a mistake. And I learned to just go. And just in doing that, like laughing it off, not disrespectfully laughing it off, but just kind of going, yeah, I made a mistake. Helped me so much on little setbacks live. It's just learn to laugh it off, make a joke and laugh it off. Just go, I'm normal. This is my day to be normal. There you go. Just tell yourself that. Oh, this is my normal day, and move on. And that villain will just poof, gone. All right, next up, ignore the watchers. Oh man, this is a big deal. Oh man, we're gonna get philosophical on this. Have a little sip of coffee. Ignore the watchers. Okay. Got thinking after I did the reel that maybe some of this would come across as the people that are watching the reels and watching the content. And I'm like, no, that has nothing to do with it. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. The watchers are the people that sit in silent judgment. They're always watching you. You know who they are. You have those people in your life. Everyone has those people in their life. They're waiting. They're excited for you to come up empty-handed. Not the people that are watching you and excited for you. I was like, how do I articulate that? After I did the live, after I did the post, the reels, I thought, man, I hope people that are watching this don't think I mean them. I mean the people that are dysfunctionally waiting for me to mess up and fail. That's what I'm talking about. Man, everybody has those people in their lives. And I call them the Watchers. This is my own word. This is like inside crazy brain of James. This is what they're called. They're called the Watchers. I struggle with the Watchers. I struggle with the people that are excited, looking forward to, like vultures, like hyenas in the desert that are just sucking my carcass off. Like, it's like, oh, they just want me to fail. They just want me to turn up empty-handed. They just want to come up on me. I know they're out there. And those hyenas, they're gross. That's a big villain in my life. And I know a lot of people struggle with the Watchers. It is a significant hurdle. If you are in a performance-based type family or dynamics, the Watchers are tough. Some people just shake them off and never act. I mean, it blows me away. I know people that just don't even struggle with it at all. And you're like, really? Like, no, I just don't think about it. I'll give them space. I'm like, I don't try to give them space either, but they're always knocking on the door. They're always trying to get in. So, villains that watch, villains that sit off in the distance, eating their popcorn. I think about the meme of Michael Jackson eating his popcorn while the argument's going on. Everybody's seen that. It's hysterical. It's the best thing ever. Michael Jackson had no idea how famous that dude would be for that Thriller. But it's so true. They just sit there and they take so much energy. They rob so much joy. So first, you just got to lock the door. That's just how I do it. I'm like, okay, the Watchers are out. I'm going to put my blinders on, and I'm going to go to work. I'm going to put my blinders on. I'm going to go to work. Don't look left. Don't look right. Don't look up. Don't say, hey, Fred, as I run by his front yard while he's watching me jog. That's my best advice. Just put your blinders on and go to work. If that is your big belief villain that's holding you back from starting, from building momentum, and you just feel like, oh my gosh, that is the thing that holds me back. My advice, put your blinders on and go for it. Just don't hold back. Tell yourself that. Use that idea. Just sit there and go like this. Okay, I got my list. You guys are going to love this. Got my list. Okay. I'm just going to put my blinders on. I'm going to do my list. Just do it. Just do it. That's it. Make them watch you succeed. Okay? Make them watch you. Make them follow you. Put so much momentum into what you're doing and so much energy into what you're doing, so much belief into what you're doing, so much commitment into what you're doing, so much consistency into what you're doing, so much of you in your heart. Put that into what you're doing. Make them get off their duffs and follow you. Make them have to find you. Make them look for you. Don't let them get a free pass and just let them find you being afraid to start. Make them do some work, because the bottom line is they won't do any work. They're never going to chase you down. They're never going to find you. They're just, whenever you happen to run past their house, they're going to be like, they're going to give you the silent treatment because they're too lazy to actually chase you down. They don't care that much. You're just convenient cannon fodder for them and their little egos and their insecurities. So just put some distance down. Just put some distance down and go. They will not follow you. They might a little bit. They'll like chase you to the end of the yard while they're watering the grass, but that's it. They're not going to put any effort into it. They don't put any effort into anything. They're takers. That's just what they are. Just put them behind you. Put them behind you. Oh, the Watchers. We got a good reel coming from them next week. They're legit, man. They are legit. The people that just watch in silent judgment. And I'm surprised the number of people that fall into this category. I have people that are super excited, like, okay, I'm going to launch Belief here. I'm going to do this. And then the moment I do, like they became Watchers, like they transformed in front of my eyes. I'm like, really? You're going to be that person? But it's just bizarre. Human behavior is bizarre. You can't let it get in your head. You just got to put it behind you. They're not that big of a deal. They're not that important. You give them way more platform and voice in your head than they need. You want to start a YouTube? Start a YouTube. It's that simple. Start a YouTube. You want to talk about soggy socks and how much you enjoy to run in soggy socks? Put on some soggy socks and go for a run. My allergies are killing me. You're going to have to give me 1 second. I am trying not to sneeze in allergy season. Oh my gosh, corn season comes. If you have allergies, you get that point where you like want to take a fork and like put it on the back of your throat and like scratch the roof of your mouth. Yeah, that's how I am right now. I just want to take a minute and just take my tongue and like scratch top of my mouth for like 30 seconds. Allergies are awful. My face is just so bad. I don't even know how I'm not like, I'm going to get one of those cones. I'm going to get one of those dog cones for the next broadcast so I can't like scratch anything. Okay, I'm not really going to do that, but that'd be a lighting nightmare. One of my friends from Ecam would be so sick of my questions trying to light that up correctly. Next one up. Ignore the watchers. Ignore them. They're lame. Leave them behind. They're lame. Don't give them platform. Make your little list. Get started. Leave them behind. You wouldn't just, like if they were a real person and this wasn't a hypothetical situation and you had this person and they're on the corner, you wouldn't go have a picnic in their front yard every single day. But you kind of do that when you don't have action. You just get up to the point where they start watching and then you freeze like a little animal. Like, don't do that. Don't freeze. Just keep walking. Put some action behind it. And walk. Leave them alone. Stay away from them. Don't go down that street anymore. Bad. It's bad. Bad habit. Don't do that. All right. Gotta move on from that. The dog cone thing threw me off. Okay. I'm gonna have to put a dog cone on one of my coffee cups. I can feel it already. All right. Next up. Embrace the solitude. This is the most personal one. You're not my customer. Or I'm not your customer. Was pretty personal. This one is probably the most personal to me. It's the most personal advice that's this week in all of the reels. If you're going to do something and you're going to push out, there is a solitude to it. There's no advice I can give you that doesn't include some solitude. Every business I've had, there's a time where I'm in the office or I'm in the garage or I'm at the shop and it's 1 o'clock in the morning on a job site. Along the way, I've had friends like Baker and I've had some people that are just amazing friends, but there are a lot of times by myself. Finishing the job by myself in solitude. And I don't know if this is necessarily a villain, but it's a mindset thing. It very much is. I don't get too much in the voodoo. In case you haven't noticed in my channel, people that follow this channel are not going to be voodoo people. There's not a lot of fluff in here. Because I think the truth is the kindest thing you can tell somebody. The shortest route to the truth is kindness. And that's what I see as our conversations. When I look at the reels, I look at the content. I had somebody dislike this short. Can I just have a temper tantrum? Can I just have a fit? I'm not really going to have a fit. Somebody disliked this. And I thought to myself, telling somebody about solitude, somebody didn't buy a ticket and get on a plane either. I'm like, that is kind. That is a kind thing to tell somebody, that you're going to have to face periods of solitude. I love to name some people by name, YouTubers that I watch. I know for a fact that you have gone through periods of solitude. I guarantee it. Anybody that is successful has gone through periods of solitude. I guarantee you there's life portions of life that are solitude for Elon Musk and for a single mom that wants to start a network marketing business. I guarantee you they have periods of solitude. It is universal. Anybody that tells you they do not fight this, I would say they're full of beans. I would say they're full of beans. They just don't want to admit it. They're terrified of the darkness. That's why they're playing it up. You have to be okay in the solitude. You got to be okay with that. It isn't bad. It's not a bad thing. It isn't an abnormal thing. I'll get a chair that doesn't squeak. Don't worry. Trust me. The perfectionist in me hates a squeaking chair. Okay, I'll get the chair that's like doesn't squeak. It's hydraulic, and then I can sit there and go up and down and fidget with it with my fidget hands. Fidget hands. That'll probably become a meme. It's okay to be in solitude. It is okay to embrace that. In fact, you need to embrace it. I can get all the help I want on YouTube, going live on YouTube, doing a YouTube channel. But at the end of the day, there's a solitude to being here and nobody being in the chat. There's nobody in chat. I got Steve on my personal Gmail, and I got me, Belief Hero, in the chat, just in case somebody chats and I miss it because I'm new at it. So I like have a redundancy of Steve sitting here patiently waiting for me to stop talking so that he can go do what he wants to do. Your tech Steve, he's my backup. He's the guy that does all the tech stuff. He helps me with tons of tech. There's solitude. You got to be okay with that. You got to embrace it. You're just doing a YouTube live. I talk to myself more in the car going to work than I am on this YouTube live. Like, this should not be any big deal for somebody, but it can be terrifying for people. The solitude can be terrifying. And I look at it like this. Okay, you're going to get in a kayak and you're going to go out in the ocean. You got to go both so you don't go in a circle, right? Kayak, it's this, right? Kayak's this. Sorry. I was doing a canoe. Okay, I'm not up on my quick water sports animations. You didn't know you're going to get so much levity tonight, did you? Levity is a good thing. And you're going to go out and you're going to sit in your kayak. And you're like, I don't want to go in the ocean. That's fine. Go into space. I'm sure there's a lot of solitude there. I've never been there, but I can't imagine a more solitude location. And you're going to turn your kayak around. Now you can do the single, right? Because you're not like fighting off a shark or something. And you look back to shore. If you're going to move and you're going to go somewhere, there's going to be solitude. Got to be okay with the solitude. Just embrace it. It really is the view that you are working towards. It's the view that goes, hey, this is why I did it. I did all that work getting out here. I fought all those break waves, got all the way out here. I'm looking for boats, trying not to get ran over, trying not to get knocked out of my kayak by some crazy shark or an orca. I'm terrified of orcas. I don't care about sharks. I'm terrified of orcas. They're going to walk by or swim by. They're going to look at me with that one eye and they're like, that's not a lot of meat, but, you know, I don't mind getting something from the gas station, a little snack off the end aisle. That's how I feel like they'd look at me. You got to be okay with solitude. This is one of the kindest things I can tell somebody. You got to be okay with solitude. There's solitude. It's not everything's a team sport. It's just not always a team sport. You're not always going to have somebody there to be like at midnight, okay, I got to think of what I'm going to do for my reels tomorrow. Okay, I got to order product. I got to share product. How am I going to share this product? I'm going to go through my reach outs right now in the mirror. What else are you going to do? I'm going to go through my invites. I'm going to make my list. I'm going to make my chicken list. I'm going to make these. Like, there isn't always a partner for that. And the more you put people in a partnership role, the more you dilute the actual activity. So I don't know what you're afraid of in solitude. Maybe it's making the reach out. Maybe it's making the follow-up call. Maybe it's making a call to try and sell a product. Maybe it's, oh man, there's solitude there. Maybe it's just going to work and pulling the load for somebody else that can't pull the load, and you're not going to get any benefit from it. There's no affirmation at the end. There's a lot of things in life. There's just no affirmation at the end. You just got to plow through. Don't be afraid of the solitude. Embrace it. Okay. So personal. I could talk about that all night. It's a big deal. Eric Worre said it at GoPro, and I'd never heard anybody say it before. I'm going to have to find the recording. I have the recording. Supposedly, I got a recording somewhere. And he said, and then you go home and build it alone. And there was there was sincerity in his voice. Like, his voice took me to where his heart was in that solitude. And I went, wow, yeah, that's true. There's solitude. There's solitude in small business. Absolutely. I guarantee you there's solitude in the people that built successful YouTube channels and podcasts. I mean, you're just staring at a script, pretending people are watching you, or you come over to YouTube and you stare at yourself talking just like a podcast, and you're pretending there's somebody chatting with you the whole time. That's solitude. You're going to sell vitamins, there's going to be solitude. Okay. You're going to take your vitamins for a long time before somebody wants to take vitamins with you. Okay. You're going to sell candles. You're going to sell anything. You're going to try to lead a team somewhere. You're going to have to lead yourself for a long time before somebody else shows up. Okay. You got to get your kayak out there before somebody on shore goes. You got to wait for somebody on shore to see you. So now there's like 1,000 people on shore, right? And I've been at the beach a lot. I don't see a lot of people with binoculars. So you're going to have to wait for that one person to show up that has binoculars, that freak. And they're out there, oh, look at there. There's a kayak person out there. So then he was like, but I didn't bring my kayak. So now you're going to have to wait statistically. This is all statistically hypothetical, right? Now you're going to wait for the person that brings both a kayak and binoculars. Okay, look at that guy out there. I'm going to go out with them. I'm going to take my kayak out there. But I brought my kids, so I can't ride my kayak today. So now you're going to wait for the guy that has binoculars, a kayak, and no kids, and wants to come out there with you. It takes time. That's solitude. Fish. Listen to your iTunes or something. Just chill. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. All right, next up. Excitement versus belief. Man, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. A lot of people get stuck here. A lot of people get stuck. You know, a lot of people that think excitement is going to motivate them to go towards the goal. And I don't think that's the case. I would argue from a perspective of being kind that is not the case. Okay? Excitement is not a natural resource. It cannot be tapped. It cannot be mined. It cannot be boxed up. It cannot be shipped to your door. And if it could, Amazon would do it cheaper than all of us, and we just have to go home. So with that, excitement does not build belief. Okay? Excitement makes me flip up my phone and do some crazy reel that I never would have done when I wasn't excited. Okay? Belief makes me do that reel 3 or 4 times and then post it, the action behind it, the completion of the task. And I have seen people go to calls every day for decades, hoping somebody will convince them to do the thing they really don't even want to do. So they'll just wait for somebody to convince them to do their business, convince them to do something. And they don't have belief. And so then they go from event to event to event, to call to call to call to call, to meeting to meeting to meeting. And they just are waiting for somebody to try to convince them to do what they say they want to do. And if you could do anything right now to slay that bad habit, this isn't really a villain. I'd say this is a bad habit. This is a misunderstanding, a misarticulation in your head. We're separating two things out, belief and excitement, putting them in their rightful place. And you go, hey, I'm not excited to go figure out Discord, to build a Discord community. But I have belief in Belief Hero. I have belief in what we're going to do, what we're going to build, where we're going to go, that I'm going to go prepare a place for everyone to be. Nobody's there yet. That's the difference. Use your excitement to just in those moments to do, oh, this would be crazy. What if I did a reel standing on my head and I did my makeup upside down? I don't know. I don't do makeup. But if I did, that would be something I'd try when I was excited. Separate those out. Stop waiting for excitement to fill your belief bubble. The only thing that fills your belief bubble, that fills that belief bucket every single day, is action. So get excited and then go do an action you would never do if you weren't excited. That is so important. Oh my goodness. Huge tip. When I get excited, I go do something I wouldn't normally do in my business. Just what I do. And you should too. Absolutely. That should be a habit you build. All right. Don't get excited about something, go sit on the couch. Okay? That's not what you should do with excitement. Don't do that. All right, our last one, keep moving. I hope of everything we talked about tonight, it encouraged you to keep moving. Every single one of these belief villains, every one of these bad habits, every one of these mindset little hints and tips is something that every single person on the planet should be reminded of. It should be one of the most shared podcasts that I have. Everything in here is something that every single person will bump into at some point. If you're going to strive to do anything, you're going to build a network marketing business, you're going to build a YouTube, you're going to build an Instagram, you're just going to do something for fun, you're going to start a sewing group. There's going to be women that don't want to join your sewing group. Solitude. Like, it's all there. Yeah, I'm excited. Wound up. I love this stuff. I know that there's somebody out there right now that needs to hear this, a portion of this. Maybe they don't need to hear all of it today, not right this minute, but there's somebody you could share this with. I guarantee it. There's somebody that you could go, you know what? I know somebody that needs to hear this because everyone struggles with this. Should be one of my most shared shows of all time. This is good stuff. So, just keep moving. This. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I get it right? Almost? Oh, she did it. One more time, just for fun. Make sure I get it. August 2nd, I wrote, write 2 reels, record 2 reels, post on Instagram and YouTube. Those 2 reels took me like 6 hours. The next 3 days later, on a Friday, I think it was. I'd have to look at the calendar. I don't know what day it was. Tomorrow's the 11th of August, -7. So the 4th, 2 days after this, sat down and we did 14 reels in a day. Wrote them and recorded them. And we only adjusted one. We just shortened them from 40 seconds to 20 seconds. We only re-recorded one, I think, or maybe 2 at the most. Oh, we did. We had 2 on villains. We had leaving the villains behind and something villains. It was really confusing. They basically said the same thing. So we ditched one, saved one for next week. So that's done already. And then we did the other one. So my point is just keep moving. The more you do, the more belief you put in that bucket through action, the easier and easier it gets. I never would have done 14 reels had I not just been like, okay, I'm just starting. It's August 2nd, and I'm not going to be retarded and not reach my goal. So I'm going. Just make a list. I'm going to keep this on my desk and remind myself that every day I keep doing, I get further and further from a list that's 2 reels in a day. Do the same thing. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. It'll be fine. It's going to be good. Nobody died from doing a reel. Well, maybe somebody did. Disclaimer. Don't die doing a reel. Okay? It is possible. Last thing I want to leave you with. Oh, I gotta talk about. I gotta talk about this. I had massive ups and downs this week. My perfectionist brain hit me. Today's Thursday. Tuesday, I think it was, and I wanted to re-record everything. I sincerely just wanted to start over. I'd hit the end. We'd recorded a batch to everything on Friday. Went through the posting through the weekend. I haven't got scheduling down perfectly yet, so I'm still doing it by the day. That's just so depressing. That's got to be a faster way. And what happened was Tuesday morning, I looked at my Instagram feed. I looked at the Reels feed. We had some setbacks with music. I didn't know that if I chose the music that YouTube provided, I get copyright. I call them nerfs. It's a gaming term. They nerf me because I chose one of their songs. They're still going to nerf me. That's because they're not going to monetize you with that because they don't want to pay royalties on 1 million views, and they don't know what short is going to go viral. So I think they just have that in there as a stopgap so that nobody can go viral, and then they have to pay millions of dollars to Aerosmith. My Aerosmith song got a copyright. Heard a lot of Cake this week because Cake didn't, so you got your Cake and your short too. That was a dad joke. And I was bummed about that. I was pretty bummed. I didn't know that. Like, that was just one of those things I wish I'd have known. Somebody would have told me. I just kind of picked a song that kind of felt like the reel or the short and just roll with it. And they bit me. Had like 200 views in 30 minutes, and then bam, they shut it off. Had 8 since then. I'm like, did 200 views in like 20 minutes. By the time I drive to my office, to my house, I had 100. That's 5 minutes. 30 minutes later, we were at 200, and they shut it off. Have only had 4 or 5 cents in a week. So something got turned off. I mean, clearly, that bummed me out. So Tuesday, I come to the office, and my perfectionism is just, I'm not happy with Instagram. I'm not happy with the thumbnails that YouTube was choosing for me on the shorts. Man, I'm not procrastination. That the perfectionism just started to take over. I don't know if you struggle with perfectionism. It's a legit thing. I think if you can envision an end product, it's hard to not be a perfectionist in getting to that end product. I really, really struggle with that a lot. And I almost deleted everything and reposted everything from scratch. That's how almost neurotic it got. My brain was going crazy. And well, because I could just see it. Like the layout of my Instagram, I could see all the little thumbnails weren't lining up. The words weren't lining up. We had 4 words here, 3 words here. And then we tried to copy and paste some of the stuff we did on Instagram over to shorts. And you get like 300 or 400 views on Instagram. And then you get 2. You get 2. It's the exact same thing on YouTube that was on Instagram. It's cool over there. It's not cool on YouTube. I'm like, well, this is dumb. A video is a video. It's not. It's different everything. I'm like, okay, I'm just redoing everything. If you struggle with procrastination, just laugh it off. You can laugh at me right now. If you're not the perfectionist, you can laugh at me. But all that said, a bit of levity. What we're not going to do next week, and I'm just putting this out there for everybody that watches this for the next 10 years. I will gouge my eyes out if I have to listen to another short or reel that says, "Hi, this is James Hatcher, and this is your Be Bold Minute." I am so sick and tired of hearing that. So, we did not do that next week. I promise you. We did not do starter reels that way and our shorts that way for next week. I apologize. What I thought sounded like a really good idea, and I just recorded 14 of them back to back, the same hour. What sounded like a really great idea at the time, and it sounded cool. Like, kind of gave us purpose to the reels and the shorts. Like, it set that trajectory, which we needed. We needed that trajectory. Like, what am I doing? Why are we here? What is the value statement? This is your Be Bold Minute. I like that. We're keeping it forever. We're not going to say, hey, this is James, and this is, I'm not even saying it now. Everyone has to be sick of that. You're going to have those things. Everyone that's trying to do something is going to have those things. I just encourage you, laugh it off, shake it off, and get moving. So with that, that ends our week 1 recap. We had a ton, absolutely a ton of content in week 3. Next week, we're going to start not going by week. Week 4 is going to start with themes. That's how we're going to progress that forward. So looking forward to sharing that. If you don't know what that means, follow us on Instagram. That's where I'm going to start having some of that stuff. The real shorts on YouTube, I don't see them always connecting to the content on my YouTube stuff yet super well. I got to figure that out. It'll be all the same content. So if you're on YouTube and you're watching that stuff, it'll still be, they're not missing anything. It is 100% the same. It's just going to be framed a little differently. We're going to use, everything's going to be on playlist and themed for the playlist. And that is I think a better way that we're going to try that. So we're going to try that for week 4. We're not going to call it week 4. So that is a change. At the end of the reel or the end of the short is where I'll say, it's James, thanks for joining. This is your Be Bold Minute. That's pretty simple. We're not going to use Aerosmith. Lots of cake. Lots of cake in your future. She'll have our let them eat cake. Have our reels and have our cake too. I don't know. With that, I'm going to sign off. Been a great episode. Tons Tons of people supporting us. Thank you very much. Cannot do it without everybody supporting us. Cannot do it without you watching these episodes. A little levity. I hope that's okay. I can't do anything super serious for very long. I'm pretty intense, so I have to laugh. Week 3 in the bag. Can't believe it. I did not think I was going to get here. Wait till we talk about next week. We got some crazy stuff next week. And we're going to try and do 40 videos in 80 hours next week. Yeah, we've been like documenting it leading up to it. It's going to be psycho. I don't even know how I'm going to do it. I just like, why? I do not want to do the misery of a video a week. Like, that sounds awful to me. Like, why don't we just do, it's a half an hour an episode. Let's just do, go to work 40 hours and be done. It's 80 episodes in 40 hours. So I'm like, let's do it. And then I put together 100 episodes to try and prepare for it. I'm like, that's psycho. It's a lot of work. Oh, so that's next week. I'm not even sure how that's going to go. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be epic. Listen, whatever you want to do it big. Do it hard. Do it all the way. Do it full volume. Do it full throttle. Make it happen. You are worth it. Your goal is worth it. And your goal, your dream, it's waiting on you. It's waiting on you to make it happen. And you just got to make it happen. Go after your goal. Go after your dream. Slay those belief villains and become your own belief hero and embrace the process. Have a good week. Appreciate you guys. That's right. I don't have a going off the air splash yet, so you get to watch the first one again. It's funny, isn't it?